Bueno, ya vamos con la última charla, ya vamos a finalizar el Gamification World Congress y vamos a dar la bienvenida a Bart Briers. Él es miembro del equipo gestor de CTG, que es una de las compañías de IT más importantes de Europa. Además, es un fiel seguidor, ¿no?, y practicante de gamificación y es un evangelizador, además desde hace más de 10 años, que se dice rápido, pero él ya hablaba de gamificación hace 10 años. Viene desde Bruselas para hablarnos de Freakonomics, así que vamos a dar un fuerte aplauso a Bart Briers.
Good evening. Good evening. Buenas tardes. Buenos días. No. Hey, sorry for that. I promise you that I will not give Bert either during this presentation, but actually I don't have any excuse for this belly. So please bear with me and we'll talk about the Freakonomics of fun. My name is Bart. You don't have to guess my name anymore, but I have been puzzling also about the same thing that Mick Jagger was also puzzled about in this quote. What is actually the nature of our game? And gamification is really about the nature of our game, and that's what I would like to talk about today. Actually, I've been a gamification practitioner for more than 10 years. 10 years ago, I totally re-engineered the project management training at CTG, which is the company I work for as a director of services. And I prohibited the new project managers at CTG to enter the training room. From then on, they were dropped in the middle of Belgium's biggest reservate. And Belgium is a small company, I know. We do have a reservate, which is fairly small, but we have one. So in the middle of this nature wildlife park, there is where these IT guys and girls need to develop and need to train themselves in project management. And we're not doing a game that is related to IT. What they need to do is they need to build a theme park. They need to build a theme park and deliver it within time, within scope, within budget. And that's just to get aside from IT and to focus on the skills that are required for a good project manager. And I make them sleep on an antique German train to learn them all things about budget management. It is cheap, I do admit. I really kick him off the train in the middle of the night to really have them experience what managing human change is all about. And they still remember that 10 years after the event. I prohibited all project management software like MS Project from their laptops, and I gave them a deck of post-it notes, the yellow post-it notes instead. From now on, we will make post-it planning of our true IT projects with the help of just post-its. Why? Because I know that it provides me with a better planning of our IT projects. And this is just one idea. This is gamifying training courses at CTG. But we go much further than that. We also are gamifying our career development, the career development process of our consultants, which is a key business process. We're also gamifying our R&D processes within CTG. So it's not just about training, it's also about gamification of our true business processes. But what was puzzling me is that gamification, if you experience it, it is very much fun. That's why I continue to do it, even I should not do it anymore as a director of services. But this is something they can't take away from me. So it's big fun. Also, it adds a lot of value for the attendees following these training courses, for the people, the consultants that join in on gamification. So what was puzzling me is, how can I make that business case for gamification to my senior management and to my customers? Because they won't believe it until they have experienced it. And actually, what the problem is with gamification is that gamification and windmills suffer from the same syndrome. I'm not sure what the position is in Spain or any country that you come from, but in Belgium, windmills and gamification suffer from the NIMBO effect. The NIMBO effect. Yes, gamification, yes, windmills, sounds very interesting, But let the others do that. Don't you dare to implement that in my back office. Not in my back office. That's the nimble effect. So it sounds very interesting, but nobody dares to do it. And that's actually where we still are today in a lot of companies when it comes down to gamification, and also probably when it comes down to windmills. Which is a shame. That's something that we need to change. And that's the reason why we're here for. So what I did is I tried to gather some of my experiences and bundle them in a top 5 of techniques that could help you, that helped me selling gamification to my senior management, that helped me selling gamification to my customers. So that's the top 5 that I will share with you, so hopefully you can benefit from that. And don't do all the mistakes that I did. Well, what I will do is share the top 5 with you. I will start with number 4, then I'll give you the 3rd position, then I'll give you the 2nd best way of selling gamification, and I'll leave 2 positions open until the very last minute. So the worst case of selling gamification and the best case for selling gamification, that's what I will keep open until the very last minute, just to keep you awake, because it's late. So if you stay awake, you win. That's the game. Okay? Sounds like a plan? Okay, thanks. Continue. On number 4. The 4th most efficient way of selling gamification, to my experience, is calculating the return on investment. I was listening to Scott's great presentation this morning, and he was talking about provide them with the hard values, show the ROI, and he's right. Although it comes in at the 4th place, only on the 4th place. Why? Because I did it so many times. I calculated the CapEx, I calculated the OpEx, I calculated the gains. What are the one-off investments that we need for gamification? What are the reoccurring costs? What are the gains in euros or dollars or pesetas? I don't care. It is too easy. Really, it is too easy. It's so obvious. Nobody believes it, that gamification saves money. So that's why it only comes in at the 4th place. On the 3rd place, 3rd technique for selling gamification is kidnap a customer. Kidnap a customer. Yes, really, I did that. Tell you a story. You know, we have a very successful sales team at CTG, and they sell about 30 services, IT services, which bring a lot of money for them and to the company, and they're only with 8. And these are the big money makers for them. So what I did not do is try to convince my internal sales to try to convince them, to make them convince the customers of gamification. That was way too hard. What I did in one point in time is just I kidnapped their customers, because if I need to convince them first and they need to convince their customers, we would be down the road for another 3 to 4 years. So I kidnapped directly their customers. And how I did that is very simple: social media. We now live in a world, the world of any, where you can connect to anybody, anytime, any place, right? Thanks to social media, that's free. So what you now do is you don't have to create all those fancy brochures and expensive sales training. You just send out a tweet in which you tell to the world, I have 1 free seat available for a gamified course, project management. And that brought a lot of attention to the company. People just asking, hey, I want to have that free seat. So if you put free and gamification in 1 tweet, you got a hit. This was the biggest marketing hit for CTG in that year. The only thing that people had to do is come up with a motivation why they should be selected for that free seat. And what happened actually, I picked out a girl, which was not a customer, I didn't know her, picked out a girl who had a great motivation to be there. I put her also in the middle of the reservate with the CTG consultants. She did not expect that. You know, she was expected to be, she thought, I'm going to be in a training room in Brussels, which she did not. She was in the reservate. But she was delighted about the way the course was held, but she was also delighted with the result, what she thought, what she learned during that course. And what actually happened is that woman left the course, she was delighted, came back 3 months later and ordered new services from CTG. So I kidnapped the customer by taking that directly via social media. I bought the reference, which is kind of cheap, one free seat in a training that I was organizing all together. That customer was a reference for me and created some new business. So I did not go through the hassle of trying to train the sales team. And that reference created new customers. That's how it works. If you make them experience what gamification is all about and stop talking about that, then they are sold to the idea. So now we're on place 2, right? The second best way of selling gamification is to create a story. Because let's be honest, the ROI statement, I did not show that we could have a lot of savings in money. That's position 4. Also with the kidnapping the customer, we created some new customers, yes, but no, there's not a lot of money to be made in that area for now, that is. So my boss was still not convinced. He saw the case, yes, saving money. Now he was convinced of, yes, we can earn some new money, not a big deal, not a big enchilada, but we can make some money, and still he was not convinced. He still was not convinced until I created a story. What he did actually was, he asked me to do the closing keynote of a conference that we do at CTG on a yearly basis, where we invite all of our consultants in Europe and all of our customers and prospects. And that's a 500 people conference. And he said, Bart, the theme of this conference is all about cloud services and Office 365 and getting connected to everybody. So home office is very important, so can you do the closing keynote and do some talking about that? How important the world of any, because that's the theme is. I said, yeah, okay, you're the boss, I will do it. I will talk for like 15 minutes on the world of any. But I will not show you the presentation, you have to trust me. That you shouldn't have done. Because I was asked to talk about the world of any. And you know the world of any? Microsoft is promoting that very hard, the world in which you can link and work with anybody, anytime, any place. And that's what I said on that conference. We were talking all day about the world of any. Yes, I said, this is a nice world. We're selling this to you. This is a great world. The world of any, where you connect to anybody, anytime, any place, anyhow, thanks to our services and mobile devices. And I like that world of any. But this is the world of any that I prefer. This is my world of any. Who recognizes Annie? Yeah, some people. This is Annie from the 1984 movie. That's Annie the orphan, right? And for those of you who don't dare to admit that they know Annie, there's a movie, there's a musical. Remember? Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Yeah? Now you get it? That's Annie. Well, actually, Annie invented the concept of home office. She was working from home 24/7, right? Annie was an orphan. And she had to do all the hard jobs. She was working all night, all day long, together with her fellow orphans. She had to do all the dirty jobs. And yet, if you remember the movie, think of the movie. If you remember the movie, she was having a lot of fun. She actually gamified, before the concept even existed, her jobs. They were singing, they were dancing together but they were working very hard. So here is where I made notice to the public that gamification is fun, but it's also a lot of hard work. It's about motivation, it's about engagement. So here is where I talked about the world of any, my world of any, in front of 500 people, the best customers and consultants that you have. But I made a point, because there were a lot of IT managers in that audience, and they have one critical business issue in IT, for sure also in Spain. It's the war for talent. It is the lack of engagement, the engagement crisis. We have been talking about that all day. And I was talking about Annie, how she was working very hard. And so, you know what happened? She had a lot of fun. But one day, dear IT managers, she got fed up with her boss not supporting gamification. Right? That's her. She got fed up with her management not being supportive of a fun culture. So what she did, she fled to another organization. She left the first organization, she went to another organization. This, dear colleagues, is the war for talent, explained by Annie. And that's when they got the message. That's when they got the message that gamification could help solve them the most and biggest critical business issue that they have. That, by the way, is a picture of my boss. Yeah, he is. That's the vice president. He looks like the guy from the movie. So Annie actually is the goddess of gamification. Annie is my goddess of gamification. She invented the concept. And that's how the storification of gamification made it worthwhile. Storification of gamification, wow. It's very important. I created a story to solve the most important business issue of my boss, the thing that keeps him awake at night. Now was explained for him, to him, in a way he really could relate to. This made sense for him, because sometimes it is not about the money. At CTG, it is not about the money. It is about happy people produce quality. That might sound stupid, but that's our mission statement. Can you imagine that? Happy people produce quality. So yes, we need to make money, and we're making some money, but at the end, we want to make our people happy. And here is where I show that gamification can make people happy. So it is achieving our mission statement. Now I still have 2 spots available. The 5th spot, the worst way of selling gamification, and the 1st spot, the best way of selling gamification. There are 2 options left. Who thinks that PowerPoint is the best way of selling gamification? Hands up. PowerPoint, best way of selling gamification? Whoa, you only invite the smart people. Who thinks that the Power Song is the best way of selling gamification? Ah, you dirty. Okay. Smart people in this room, really. Well, actually, you're right. PowerPoint is the worst way of selling gamification to organizations. I tried that so many times for so many years. So did you. And it is not successful. I pulled all the PowerPoint tricks that you can think of. Are you familiar with working with Microsoft Excel and creating those nice graphs? Yes? Everybody uses Microsoft Excel. I use those. I use the heaviest, the most complex graphs in Excel to demonstrate that gamification is worthwhile investing in. You know, I did it all. For example, I use the bar charts from Excel to explain that there is an engagement crisis in our company. 45%. I use the bar charts. I even use pie charts. Pie charts, very important in Excel, to show that job satisfaction is very important, even more important than giving your employees more money. Job satisfaction is the icing on the cake. The icing on the cake. I even use 3D charts, and I thought, oops, what happened? This was supposed to be a 3D chart, and I thought we were in a cinema, so I thought this would come out like 3D, but it did not. But what this slide actually should tell you, this 3D chart, is that from a shareholder perspective, and at the end, that's everything that counts, certainly if you're a listed company like CTG, that if you would invest in the best company to work for, and that's an official certificate, that the shareholder value would be 14% higher than for the average company listed on the NASDAQ. So from a shareholder perspective, it makes sense to invest in gamification. And yet, all these nice graphs, been talking about that for ages, they did not buy it. So PowerPoint is not successful. What is the key to success in selling gamification, to my humble opinion, is indeed the Power Song. Yes, it is the Power Song. Now let me summarize all of this, because I was talking about the 5 ways of selling gamification, but the point is that you actually need to use all of them. Also the least efficient way of selling gamification, but you need to use it in a very specific order. And this is the order in which you need to use these techniques. First step, use PowerPoint. Use PowerPoint not to sell gamification, no, that won't work, but use PowerPoint to educate, to situate the concept of gamification, because they don't know. Don't use the G word. Well, explain what it's all about and what it's not about. Calculate the return on investment. That's step 2. Use a small and concrete case to show that there actually are savings to be made when using gamification. So for them, for your customers, it proves to be a sound, a safe investment, right? Trade a customer. Third, show that you can actually also make some extra money within your company if you buy a reference and turn that reference into more customers. Trade a customer for a reference and make some more money. But the fourth step, as a 4, it gets really important. The storyfication is important. Create a story. Find a story in which gamification can help you in solving the most critical business issue in your company. And at CTG, the most critical business issue, the thing that kept my boss awake was, will I be elected as the best employer to work for next year? Because we were that for 5 years. And he wanted to be that again. He wanted to be the employer of choice for all the IT people in Belgium. So here is where I showed that is his critical business issue, and I showed that gamification can actually help him in achieving that mission statement. Happy people produce quality. But you know how this works? You know, I tell a story, and I tell a story about Annie, and so I heard some people laughing, haha, Annie, funny. And I know how you work. I know how my consultants work. You know, you tell a story, they find it funny. They go out, have the party at the Ada Palace. Ada, yes, right, okay, hope to see you all there. You have the party, and by tomorrow you have forgotten the story about Annie. That's the problem with stories. So that's why you need to find a trick to make it repeatable, to make it stick in their minds. A story will sometimes stick, but most of the time it won't stick. What I did is I caused a trauma. I caused a trauma in their minds, so they will never forget. You can forget the story, but you will never forget the trauma that I caused. So what I did, yes, I created a song. And creating a song, certainly if I sing it myself, is creating a trauma. Because I can't sing, and I know it, I can't sing. But that actually will make sure that people will never forget the story about gamification. Because whenever they see the movie, whenever they see the red girl, a small girl with red hair, they will be reminded of gamification. They will actually relive the trauma. So you need to find, and for my organization, it was singing a song, but you need to find a trick in which you can cultivate and resonate, make something repeatable, the story about gamification, just to make sure that the story sticks. And that's when I sung the tribute song for Annie to 500 of my consultants, customers, and prospects. But I guess we're running out of time, so I assume that we'll skip the song and just get over it. Honest? No, skip it? Oh my God. Okay. Are you insured for this? Because it will cause trauma. Yeah, you are insured? Okay? I'm not paying for this. Okay. So let me sing the song for you, and apologize for the trauma already. But I'm sure it will stick in your mind, hopefully as it did stick in the minds of my consultants.
people or your son. Let them grow what you grow. Annie and Larry. Work isn't all about the money. Annie and Larry. Happy people produce quality.
Thank you very much. I think after that we have no questions. Everything is clear. I think it's better if they have questions, they do it in the party.
Okay,
Thank you very much, Bart.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you.
Bye.